going to talk a little bit about the red wine making process. So the most fundamental difference between white wine making and red wine making is that you ferment the red wine with the skins. Now here we've got a traditional open top fermenter, and at Star Condé we like to make our red wines, our best red wines, this way. We think it's the most natural, and one of the big benefits is you can actually see the process. You really get a sense as it's going. But you can see here we're in the early to mid stages of fermentation, where it's been on the skins for about 3 days after picking, and you can see that there's a lot of fermentation going on, and it's pushed up the skins to the top. And so what happens is the yeast is creating carbon dioxide along with making that, it's a byproduct of making the alcohol, and it's that carbon dioxide pushes the skins up. And what we have to do is several times a day you have to mix it up. We do this by hand. It's called punching down, and we'll give it a big mix up. And it also gives it gives a bit of oxygen to the yeast as well, which is necessary for its nutrition. So this ferment is now in its really active phase. You can see all the foam that it makes. It really shows you that it's a lot's going on now, happening very quickly. So if you examine on the edge too, you can see that cap has become about 200 millimeters tall, so it's fairly thick, and you got to push that back down to wet it. And by wetting it, that is what helps to get the color and the flavor out of the skins. All that flavor is in the skins, and all that color as well. The grape juice, when you first make a red wine, is clear. It's the same as white. So we talk a bit about what they call maceration. So maceration is the part of, when they talk about fermentation in red wines, it's when you have the skins together with the juice. And that's one of the biggest factors that the winemaker can determine. And through that maceration, that determines both the amount of color that you get out and the amount of tannin, right? So tannin itself, you'll often hear this term, extraction of tannin. So tannin extracts several ways. One is it extracts chemically, so it extracts with water at the beginning of fermentation, so you'll just have that juice and that water that will be extracting the tannin. Then you'll have, later on in the fermentation, you'll have alcohol, and the alcohol will also help to extract that tannin. Then you have heat, so this is creating a bit of heat. So if you put your hand here, you can actually feel the heat coming off of that. More heat will extract more tannin, and you can control the amount in some degree by how hot you let your ferment get. The other way is time. So how long you're going to leave it on the skins. Are you going to make a long ferment, or are you going to make a quick ferment, or are you going to take it off early? So that we look at the condition of the vineyard, the year that you have. How do those skins and how do those pips taste when you chew them before picking? And by looking at those factors, we make a decision of, how long we're gonna leave it. What is our own style as well? How much of that tannin do we want?